Big Show KSU Radio. As we said before the break, we're going to talk about the ESPN Town Hall meeting, Contact of Character, the image of the black athlete. Very wordy title.
Yeah, half of them couldn't say it.
A very wordy title, hosted by Robin Roberts, who's class. She's class.
I love it when her and Bob Lee host things together.
Yeah, they're both very
They're
good.
awesome.
And on the panel was John Calipari, head coach of Kentucky.
I like him even more now after watching that than I did beforehand.
He's a good guy.
I've always thought
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy, cheating coach, but
you can tell he wants the best.
But how can you say he cheated? What did he cheat? When did he ever cheat?
He's
gotten seasons taken away from him.
He's kind of admitted that he got run out of UMass because of...
Oh, no, the Marcus Camby thing was...
Because of Marcus Camby, who was dealing with agents, not necessarily because of Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. Y'all can keep saying he did it. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
If I'm just
knowing that Chris Rose has had allegedly somebody else take his SAT.
That's up to the school, though. The school's the one that admitted him into the school. Calipari didn't.
But
Memphis also admitted Douglas Roberts after Georgia told him, you can't come here.
But apparently Calipari was culpable in knowing about... And he kind of admitted that he's not always been on the up and up.
He's had seasons taken away.
He's admitted. And you heard it.
Two.
You heard it in a thing. He admitted that he wasn't necessarily always...
The two that he got taken away, he just happened to go to the championship game both years.
UMass never played for the national title.
Or the Final Four.
Final Four.
So he was on the panel. Marion Jones.
I don't know why she was on that panel.
Well, they need a woman's perspective.
Because she's in the Tulsa Shock.
Just think of...
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
She's important. She averages 3 points a game for the Shock.
Well, you need a woman's perspective or a woman athlete perspective.
Robin Roberts isn't a woman?
She shoots up more than she scores points.
Robin Roberts wasn't an athlete?
Like current, modern. I mean, so you could pick...
So why was Spike Lee on there then?
Well, we'll get to him.
Because he's a modern athlete.
We'll get to him.
He hasn't been current since Boys in the Hood.
Jalen Rose was on the panel.
Who was late?
Yeah, they all got stuck in traffic apparently. And Michael Wilbon.
CPT.
Yep.
And Michael Wilbon from Pardon the Interruption was on there too. And the amazing racist Spike Lee.
The only person that on the that I was impressed with besides Calipari was Michael Wilbon.
Wilbon.
I love Michael Wilbon.
Michael Wilbon. He needs, and you don't really get to see it on Pardon the Interruption, but when he does the sports reporters and stuff like that, his
knowledge is just...
If he ran for president, I'd vote for him.
Absolutely.
He is one of the best.
I wouldn't even care his party affiliation. I would just vote for him.
I'd vote for Michael Wilbon.
Like, I would take a class if he was the professor, just because I don't care if I'm not getting credit for it. I would go to a school just because Michael Wilbon could be my professor.
Yep.
He is amazing at at being articulate and just his opinions and everything like that. But Spike Lee basically blamed white people for every mishappening to the black athlete.
I didn't expect him to say any different.
And just some of the outrageous things.
Do you hate LeBron?
No.
Do you hate LeBron?
Hell no.
If you hated LeBron, you'd be a racist.
You'd be a racist. It was a racist thing.
If you're in Cleveland right now, racist.
You're all racist. And to give him credit, Marion Jones was the only one that went head-to-head. Yeah. I said to give him credit. Marion Jones is probably a dude. But she went head-to-head with Spike Lee, and the only one. Because you can tell Michael Wilbon was just like, I'm not dignifying Spike Lee of all people.
Right, exactly.
Because that's what he wants. He wants to be in a debate with somebody to make it seem like he's legitimate and he's dignified.
It started off bad for me when he tried to put down my major. I'm a sports management major because that's what I want to do. I want to be involved in sports.
Yeah.
It's not because it's the new phys ed, as he put it.
No.
It's because it's what I want to do.
And Grant, he never called out the massive amounts of kids at the University of Miami taking African American studies.
Right.
Or at UConn taking sociology. That was the UConn basketball thing, was sociology.
So he picks sports management and stuff like that.
Which, by the way, is the same thing as being a management major here or a communications major.
Just
it's focused on sports. You're still doing the same type of work. It's just refocused. And to me, that just showed how ignorant he was. And then the other part of it that really pissed me off with him was he talked when they brought up the media part of it, how 95% of it's white people. Right. How many black people other than yourself do you know that? I mean, and you may know more because you're actually in radio.
No, it's like...
But I don't know a whole lot of black people that are willing... that want to go into radio, they want to be on TV or they want to be hip hop DJs. They don't want to go into sports reporting. The four black guys I can think of as sports reporting are very, 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 very good. The fat dude from Kansas City,
Jason Whitlock,
Michael Wilbon,
Michael Smith,
Michael Smith on ESPN,
and
a lot of these guys went to prominent schools.
Correct. They went to white schools. They didn't go to Morehouse. They didn't go to any other HBCUs. They went to schools. Michael Wilbon's a Northwestern graduate. They are very much known for their journalism department at that school, among other things. Yeah. But they are known for that department. He went to the best school because he knew that's what he wanted to do. You can't blame the fact that black people don't want to do this profession as a reason they're not in it. Now, is there some truth to what they're saying? Absolutely. But it's not always a black and white race issue.
Like Jalen Rose said, they're either working on the jump shot or slinging crack in a corner.
Yep.
And that's the perception, and that in a lot of areas is the reality. Because we have to get out of here. We got to get out of here quick. So what's the quickest route to making money?
Yep.
The one thing that Spike Lee was talking about that sports management, all that stuff, he was like, well, the collegiate black athletes, they don't have any help in deciding what they're doing. They're just taking classes, and they get no help with all choosing academics and all that stuff. It's like, okay, come, Spike Lee, I will invite you down to Kennesaw State University, and you can meet people who do that as a career.
Our advisor for our athletes is black. Rashad is a black man, and they meet with him they have to meet with him. Obviously before they register for school, but they have to meet with him twice a semester just to make sure everything is going correctly for them. Don't give me that crap that black athletes have no help. Our athletes have met with their advisor more than I've met with mine. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, they have to.
Right, exactly.
It's a rule for them.
And so for a guy who graduated from Morehouse back in like 1975, just needs to shut the F up. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he looked more like a bigger asshole. Oh, sorry. Looked like a big a-hole. Sorry. I made it 38 minutes. Because he didn't know what he was talking about. And now I get the fact that Brandon, I feel like Brandon's just like,
No.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
It's a different time. It really is than graduating from Morehouse in the 70s. Morehouse in the 70s, it's like, okay, this whole fist movement, all that.
I just don't
power to the people.
I just don't see Spike Lee as a credible source just because of the fact that he did a commercial with Michael Jordan. He sits courtside
He made what? A good movie?
He sits courtside at Knicks game. He may be friends with a bunch of athletes. Jay-Z's friends with a bunch of athletes.
What are his movies predominantly about?
Race.
Black guy slinging crack.
Yeah. New Jack City. Check it out.
He's made a living off of black men slinging crack.
Correct.
In the drug game, playing basketball. And yet, that's not the way people go. You went to Morehouse, and you want the black athlete to rise above it. How about you take your own words, and you start rising above it?
Make an art form that shows them that.
You start to rise above, and then maybe you inspire somebody a little bit different. But I was taken back by the lady who asked the final question. They only took 2 questions.
I didn't see the final one.
I love the form, the open form where they only take 2 questions. She said, she's raising her 13-year-old nephew, and yet only thing in front of her nephew are athletes, and that's all he aspires to be. How does she get him to focus more on becoming doctors, lawyers, and professionals?
Show them the right person. There's black people out there that have these.
And the one question that that came to my mind was, is he here today? Is he sitting with you today to maybe inspire him to see another perspective on things? Because if he's not, he's sitting at home watching a Cavaliers game on TNT.
The old friend that I just got rid of, he was my best friend for 15 years. We parted ways because he's an ass. But his father went to Clemson, and that's how he became a Clemson fan. His father went to Clemson 3 years after they integrated the school. So you listen to the stories he told about the things that he endured being at that school. I don't know that I could have taken that. The abuse that he went through. He's a very prominent figure at Clemson now. He was the first black person to graduate Clemson with a PhD. He's known all around that campus. For for 20 years, he was one of America's most influential black men. He worked his way up with Georgia Pacific. When they got bought out by Koch Industries 5 years ago, he was the executive vice president of a Fortune 500 company. He was the first person in his family to graduate from college. He wanted more. It was instilled to him by his parents. Obviously, growing up back in the 50s and 60s and such forth, sports weren't as big as they are now, but his parents made sure that he read. His parents made sure that, even though we're still living, they literally grew up, and he owns it today. He grew up on the land that his great-grandparents or his grandparents worked as slaves. He owns the property now, but that's where he grew up. They instilled that work ethic into him, and when he got the chance to have an education, he took advantage of it. And one thing they talked about was, he told me about a long time ago was, if you go to Africa, South Africa, where he's been several times, and my buddy had gone there with Clemson to help out, is they don't have the opportunities there that they have here as far as education goes. If you want to go back to school, you can get a loan. The government will pay for you to go to school. We don't have that here, or they don't have that there. We have that here, and people want to complain and bitch that they don't have the opportunities, that somebody held them down, that somebody held them back, when in fact you're the only person holding you back. I didn't grow up idolizing sports figures. I idolized my mom because I grew up with a single mother, and she worked 3 jobs. And while we never went without, we didn't have the things that my kids enjoy today, and so that to me is, I don't like that question. Well, who are they supposed to idolize? Why don't you work your ass off? Give them a book. Give them something to do besides sit them in front of a TV to watch, Friday night basketball on ESPN, and it'll be odd how differently his life turns out.
And Calipari said it best, and I'm surprised Michael Wilbon didn't say it either. Is that it's about that opportunity that he was the first in his family to graduate from college. Now his daughter is going to get a law degree, and it's building the chain. It's building the ladder. And he told stories about how Nazi Muhammad, he's going to make Nazi Muhammad finish. And Randy Shannon did the same thing. Yeah. Who was it? One of those old players at Miami.
It was
a
cornerback.
The cornerback.
Plays for the Ravens.
He is going to make him finish school and is helping him finish school. And Calipari said, Nazi Muhammad, we're going to finish your degree. And we're gonna. And
Muhammad didn't even play for him. He just played at Kentucky. He didn't play for Calipari.
Didn't play for John Calipari.
No.
So,
go ahead.
And I think it's just taking a vested interest in that. These coaches a lot of coaches are doing the right thing. They're taking a vested interest. And Randy Shannon basically said it best. I took a vested interest in my players as men, off the field, academic wise, and I am out of a job.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. And if that's the state of college athletics, then
it is, but nobody wants to say it out loud.
Yeah, and if that's the state of college athletics, and the NCAA wants to throw out the APR graduation rates and stuff like that, and yet they're the ones causing the situation by putting these universities president in a saying that if you want to be financially sustainable, you have to field a top-level Division I team, or else you're going to lose a whole bunch of money. And then you either have to do it big or not do it at all. And when coaches take the right interest, they wind up failing. And honestly, we talk about how Calipari didn't do things necessarily the right way for a part of his career. Well, these kids are better humans, better members of society, and he found a way to win, but maybe it's cheating in the terms of NCAA guidelines. And if that's the case, then you know what? Keep on doing it.
One of the big things that they talked about, too, was black coaches. Well, you bring up graduation rates, which they did, which was, as a whole, what was that, 46% of black kids graduate from the big schools, not the HBCUs? Okay. So out of that 46%, how many of them want to go into coaching? Because whether you like it or not, that's a prerequisite to get into coaching now. You have to have a degree. And 10 years from now, it's going to be at the point where you have to have a master's degree at that point, which is going to be that way for a lot of things that you're going to have to do. Out of that 46%, say 3% of those want to coach. Those are the 3% that are in. The other ones may want to coach, but guess what? You don't have that piece of paper to back it up with. And while you may get an internship, or somebody may help you out as far as, putting you back on, a grad assistant scholarship or something to help you finish.